I just want to say to my subs, I love you so much. Thank you for the support that you've given me in the last few days. It's been a real huge encouragement. You've restored my faith in humanity. I love you guys so much. I thank you with all my heart. And I really wanted to start this on a positive note. And I'm so glad the Super Bowl is coming up. Usher's going to be doing a halftime performance. And a lot of people are going to be making chicken wings. It's tradition to make chicken wings or have chicken wings during the Super Bowl. So I hope you all have your own recipes and you're going to enjoy your chicken wings. The other thing I want to say is that I'm very aware that a lot of Dave's followers who can't see him for what he really is are trying to get him back onto the platform, which is very concerning for me. And it just shows you that people like Dave can truly charm people. He's a charmer, and a lot of people, his followers simply don't see through him, or they don't care to see through him. So I would like to discuss that today. I've had to re-record this part of the podcast because when I listened to the first recording of the first part of this podcast, I realized I came across a little bit egotistical and self-indulgent, and I don't want this podcast to be about that. I think there is a greater lesson here, and this is not just about me. It's about a greater lesson to learn and a greater cause and some questions need to be asked and answered as to how somebody like Dave could come into this community and charm so many people and have so many people believe in him and not question him at all. And how he was able to use the Watts case to garner supply in terms of attention. And, he had followers and subs just fawning over him and believing in his every word. And of course, when he claimed that I was this person called Soviet Khan, his subs believed him, never second guessed him. And in actual fact, there was another person that he claimed was Soviet Khan before me. And we've both kind of had a talk and kind of figured out that Soviet Khan is probably one of Dave's alts, or he's behind the whole character of Soviet Khan. And so I don't want to come across self-indulgent and make this all about me, because even though I have a lot to do with what happened, the fact that he's no longer here, I think there's a greater lesson to be learned, and it's not just about me and what I did or didn't do. So let me just say this. What happened with Dave's channel has nothing to do with Frankie or Frankie's lawyers or anything like that. Dave tried something on the weekend regarding me, and I responded, but I took a different route. And without going into too much detail, I got in contact with relevant people and I sent them evidence of Dave's behavior. One specific clip I sent was when Dave was doing a live stream where he claimed that he didn't like olives. And it was actually a live stream where he was talking about Kelly at the What's the Obsession site. And there was a part in it where near the end, he started using very colorful language. We all know what Dave can be like. We all know the language he uses. And we all know that he can raise his voice quite a lot. And he used very colorful language in this clip. And I sent that part to the relevant people. And I sent several emails, but I knew that I couldn't just say, this is what he's doing. I had to provide evidence. And that's what I did. Didn't think it would work because I'd done this before when he claimed that I was Soviet Khan. And I only had a little bit of success when I contacted certain people and told them, what he was up to. But I sent quite a few emails and I was adamant. And I was very clear in what I wanted to be done with regard to him. And like I said, I had to send evidence. Just saying this person saying this or doing this is not enough. You really need evidence. And I waited and waited and I kept checking my emails. I got absolutely no response. And I thought, this isn't going to work. And then came one evening, just a few days ago, where I decided I was going to take a look at his channel just to see what was on there. I had no inkling whatsoever that his channel was going to be taken down. None whatsoever. None whatsoever. So I found one of his videos, followed the link, and saw that there was this message. And I saw that his channel, as a matter of fact, as I was looking at his channel on this particular evening, and it was past midnight. It wasn't evening, so it was in the early hours of the morning. It was past midnight, evening for some people. His channel was in the process of being removed. So that's when I realized that what I'd done, what I'd said, and what the evidence and the clips that I'd sent off, I realized that what I'd done had worked. So a lot of people are saying that the Cindy Watts interview is the reason why this all happened. That is not the case. However, it is associated in the sense that what he tried to do with me had that I reacted to it and I got in touch with the relevant people. But I also think Dave hasn't helped himself, because one of his last videos, he was going after DA Rourke, and that's just not, that doesn't send a very good impression. Going after a DA and saying this person needs to be blah blah blah. Also, I think his channel art and his channel banner had the exact words written that he was saying in the clip that I sent to relevant people. I'm not going to say who I sent these things to. You know, sometimes you send things off and nothing happens. I just got lucky this time. Sometimes it just depends on the day. It depends on who you get to speak to, and it just worked. It worked, and I knew that. Even though they didn't reply to me and say, we've done this, I knew that it was my doing that had a direct influence on what happened regarding Dave's channel. I also think that there was another person a few weeks ago who claimed that they had sent some stuff off regarding his behavior to relevant people. And so I think it's probably a build-up of things, but what I did in response to what he had tried to do to me, I think that it was basically the last straw. Now, like I said, I'm recording this part, and I think that there is a lesson to be learnt from what has happened here. I think what upsets me most is how people use the Watts case to garner supply, attention, gratification, and how that can change them, or how that can influence their personality to make them become more unkind than what they originally are. But I don't think Dave is in any way a good person at all. I think he can be nice, but I think he's only nice when you toe the line. Let me just take a sip of this. When Dave came back from his trip to America, when he came back from his trip to America, during that time I was friendly with Dave. I was friendly with Dave for a very short time. And that's because Miss Mensah had been saying that he hadn't gone to America, and she was saying that he hadn't met Chris's parents. And I put that doubt to bed. I said, look, he obviously has gone to America this time, and he obviously is speaking to both Cindy and Ronnie. And so Dave loved that. And we got friendly. And we were getting a little bit friendly before, because I had started to be outspoken about the crowd justice and Claire Morgan and things like that. So we were friendly for a short time, and we were friendly until I started to criticize him. Because after he came back from his American trip, I noticed that he started to become very arrogant, very grandiose, very egotistical. Like, he was saying, I'm friends with the Watts now, I'm something special, I'm something big. That's the attitude that he had. And even though I found his attitude to be funny at times, I found his behavior to be quite indulgent. And then when he started to project on Shanann and started to take that route where he was starting to put the responsibility of what happened on Shanann, I started to criticize him, and I started to criticize Cindy. And that's when our friendship was effectively over. He didn't like that. He doesn't like any kind of criticism whatsoever. The long and the short of it is that it's very sad that Dave was able to use the Watts case to garner attention for himself. You know, his subs fawned over him and never second guessed anything that he said. Not all of them. I don't want to put all of them in one basket, because I'm sure not all of his subs, but a lot of his subs, a great deal of the subs that were in his chat were fawners and never ever second guessed anything that he said. And when he claimed that I was Sobia Khan, who I'm not, a person that I'm not, I actually think that he's Sobia Khan. I think he's behind that whole character. They all believed him, or looked or appeared to believe him. And I think when somebody comes along and they use a case to get that kind of attention, the attention that they wouldn't get in their ordinary life, you know, I don't believe for one moment that Dave gets that kind of attention in his ordinary day-to-day life. I think he was able to use this case to get adoring followers, fawners, people who supported him, adored him, loved him, admired him, looked up to him and believed in him. And I think he used the case and his narratives, which I don't believe he believed for 1 second, but he used narratives in order to gain access to the Watts family and become friendly with them. And while I praised him for giving the Watts a platform to speak on in the initial stages, it became very clear to me from very early on where this was turning. And it was turning towards putting all of the projection onto Shanann, and I didn't like that at all. And he just began to get worse with it. And I called him out, and he didn't like that. And I think the question that needs to be asked is, after all people have been saying about Dave in the past, there are countless videos of Dave being made, telling you who he is and making you aware of who he is and telling you to be on your guard about who he is. And all of Dave's fawning subs, the people who loved and adored him, how come they never picked up on those videos? Why is it that they couldn't see him for what he is? And that's very troubling to me, that somebody like Dave can charm so many people and have so many people believe in him. Because in reality, he's a very two-faced character, and that's the least of it. He simply isn't a good person at all. Now, the reason I wanted to take a break as well, I was waiting to see what was going to happen after I had spoken to relevant people, and I'm not going to go beyond saying that. But I did. There's key things that I did, and key things that I sent, and so one of the reasons why I did want to take a break is because I wanted to wait and see if I was going to be listened to, if anything was going to be done. And if nothing was going to be done, I wasn't going to be encouraged to make more videos for now. But he has been on a downward spiral and escalating for a very, very long time. And he really should not have been here for as long as he has been. I've been saying this for a long time. AD is like a teddy bear, a saint in comparison to Dave. I've been saying this for a very long time, that it was really Dave that they should have been going after, the Rusek should have been going after, and not AD, especially now that AD's gone. Dave, I mean, this is somebody that has many, many personality issues, and I'm putting it mildly. I just didn't want to. I wasn't going to be encouraged to continue making video after video, having him hanging there in the background, just continuing. It's one thing to criticize, but every live stream he was going at Sandra. Every live, and I've criticized myself, but not the way he did. He was constantly at them, constantly at Shanann, constantly, involved in some kind of back and forth with some channel, acting like he was some hero. acting like, these leaders. And I was getting sick and tired of it. And I was just thinking, why is he still around? I decided that I just could not take it. I had to tell somebody. That I sent email after email after email after email. Sometimes that's what it takes. And now my name has been cleared when it comes to this Sobia Khan stuff he made up about me. He made up I was some girl called Sobia Khan. First of all, that's a Pakistani name. I'm not Pakistani. I'm Jamaican British. So that I could never have been Sobia Khan. And that was really when I really wanted action to be taken. And that's when I was sending the same stuff in, but it didn't work at that time. Sometimes you have to keep going, and you just have to keep going at it. So yeah, this idea that this fiction that he told that I was Sobia Khan, and that I had a Facebook page and I was doing this and that, it was all fiction. It was pure fiction. My name is not Sobia Khan, and I've never ever used that name ever in my life. My name begins with S, but it's not Sobia. The guy thought he had a PhD in Nutgate just because he happened to be in Cindy Watts' hallway. He came back from that American trip acting like he was the king of the world. Right? Now, there are some things that Dave has said that I agree with. They're few and far between, but there are some. And I was friendly with him for a time, and I thought that he was going to, I hoped that he was going to improve in character. But, once I saw that he was leaning towards projecting onto Shanann, I called him out on it, and he didn't like that. And that's when our friendship soured. And then I was eventually, he claimed that I was this Sobia Khan person. But what is so interesting about that is that a few months before he said I was Sobia Khan, he was calling a woman called Nina Sobia Khan. So we can't both be Sobia Khan. And Nina has written an extensive list of things that he had done to her on another channel. And I'm glad that Nina is speaking out. And I think more people need to speak out. And his fawning followers who believed everything he said without verification. And I remember when he called me Sobia Khan, and one of his subs was saying, Simcast, how could you do this? Because he produced these texts that he claimed that I sent to somebody, or these texts that he claimed that I sent. I don't send texts. Okay, so it couldn't have been me who sent these texts that he claimed, but they're fictitious texts and fictitious emails that he created. He should be where Chris is. Really, he's gotten off very, very lightly. Very lightly. He should be where Chris is. And like I said, AD is a wonderful human being in comparison to Dave. That's what I'm saying. That's because Dave is the way he is. He is so dysfunctional that AD, who is not a good person at all, is actually a great person in comparison. So, all of his fawning followers who gave him super chats, believed everything without verification, who went after people on his behalf, it's time to get with the truth, and it's time to face the truth. And it's quite interesting and quite sad that people can use cases like this to take advantage of people, which is what he did. And like I said, AD is a wonderful person in comparison to Dave. And Cindy and Ronnie, you can now find another channel to put your narrative out there of your sweet golden boy son. You were with Miss Mensa. Go back to Miss Mensa because she fawns over both of you. She thinks that Cindy Watts is the bee's knees. So you can go and use her channel now, because she thinks that Cindy Watts is the greatest thing on planet Earth. So you can go back to Miss Mensa's channel. That's what you can do. Take care of yourselves. I'll be back soon.